As a side note, we said we would discuss the reason why the brain of man had larger frontal lobes than those of animals. The need of the persona and the soul is to communicate with man on a level which does not require an interface. Does not. You kind of have to be computer oriented to understand interface. Interface is the thing that translates. Usually in business, translates information from a little PC that you set on your desk to the big mainframe computer that you use to process all the data, and then back. Something that's between the two to help communicate. And they're saying the need of the persona and the soul is to communicate with man on a level which doesn't require one of those things between. In other words, the mainframe could talk to the little desktop without anything between them. That's the need of the persona and the soul. And so they say, as the logical left side and the intuitive right side frontal lobe continue to develop, the brain's ability to communicate and understand the persona and the soul's messages increase. That is why you can understand more than those who lived just a few thousand years ago. As this area develops, we can leave the emotional animal side of our experience and move to that part most closely aligned with the persona and the soul. That which comes through the subconscious from the persona and the soul would have come into our awareness whole as a conscious process had we been given the time. In other words, they're looking at the development of man and saying, there's going to come a time when the persona and the soul can talk directly. No little whispers, no flashes of intuition, no chunks of messages. Then they go on to the next chapter, which is the interface. You heard them talk about the interface between the big computer and the little desktop, that thing that you have to have in order to talk between the two, because they don't talk the same language. And so they say there are two areas of investigation which haven't been discussed up to this point. They have great influence on man's life and are two wedges in the consciousness of man not so well known. The first is the thing we have named the interface. As we said, this part of the work is difficult. This is going to be difficult. And here they go to the discussion that I was given a few minutes ago. When a computer of one type has to send information to a computer of another type without help, the second computer receives garbled junk. What is needed is a little box, which when placed between the two computers translates the language of the first computer into a form the other computer understands. This box is called an interface. In our bodies, there is data coming from the five senses to a place in the brain. From this place, the data goes to another part of the brain and is processed. The form the data takes as it travels to the brain is far different than the data which ends up at the place for processing. The change takes place at the interface. Think of the interface as three screens of the type movies are projected on, but rather than being opaque, they are clear. The five senses project on the first screen, and the results pass through to the next screen just behind the first screen. This second screen amplifies, reduces, distorts, changes the color of that which is sent from the first screen. These changes are brought about by the emotional influences from all the sources discussed above. After the changes, what passes through the second screen is transferred to the third screen. The third screen is seen by the brain, and what is seen is accepted as a reality. Now, do you understand what they're saying there? The first screen is the raw data. It passes through to the second screen. The second screen is modified, either amplified or reduced. It's distorted, it's changed, it's colored, all kinds of things happen to it. And then, after that process is done, it's moved to the third screen, and that's the screen that the concrete, logical brain sees as a direct link to its five senses. And that's what we were talking about earlier, is that the stuff that comes to the logical brain is not that stuff that's transmitted from the five senses. They go on and say, now here's the key to the concept. What is sent by the five senses is never seen by the brain. You have no idea what is truly causing what you see, feel, taste, smell, or hear. What's worse, the interface changes even that data by adding light and or color where there was none, blocking out and discoloring that which had light and or color. Or in more practical terms, the man is made more handsome, the woman more beautiful, the food better tasting, the job more exciting, or obviously all of the opposites of those. It is only the more elderly, if any, that see this interface at work. They can remember what they were aware of in their youth and have seen it change, and even though they know the thing itself hasn't changed. So the elderly sometimes get a clue that there is an interface because they can remember the excitement and thrill and color of an event. And at 80 years old, you go back to that place and run through that event again, and it's not the same. And they say, what happened? Did I remember it wrong? What happened? What's wrong? And the thing that's changed is the emotional input on that middle screen. So they know something has changed. It's never been put into words. They don't understand what. And they go on and say, why do we make a point of telling you this? Where do you think so much of the emotion that enters your awareness finds its way in? Don't they let slip that emotions color your thoughts? Does light-hearted take on a new meaning? Could a joke truly be off color? And then they make this real emphatic so that you understand that they're trying to tell you something. The interface is where you are tampered with. It is where those who would get you to do as they wish change what you see, what you feel. It is there that karma does its work. The results are felt other places, but the center screen is where the work is done. It is something that could be examined. Much of what we sense is changed there. To give you just one example, were we to remove the center screen and look toward the sun, what do you think you would see? Wouldn't Michael or Gabriel be standing there in all his radiance? What else would you expect to see in the center of our solar system? Investigation in these areas could fill another book or two, and time doesn't permit. So there's what are you going to see when you look at the sun without the middle screen? Michael or Gabriel? That's what they say. That's what you're going to see. So if Michael or Gabriel is what you see when you look at the sun without that interface, it's pretty obvious to you that you're not seeing what is coming, you're not hearing what's being sent, you're not feeling, you're not tasting, you're not smelling what's there. They can be tampered with. And then they go on to the next chapter, which is dreams. And they say the second area of investigation is dreams. Again, very little is known about the true nature of dreams. That animals dream, there's little doubt. And, as with so many other things we share with animals, because of the soul's attachment, man's dreams have a different aspect. In other words, we don't doubt that animals dream, but man dreams. Man dreams too. Man dreams like animal does, but also there's a different aspect to his dreaming. And they say this difference is one of the places of true help man can reach for. As was said by us at another time, the scientists have examined the window of our dreams in great detail. They can tell you about its composition, glass being liquid and not solid, its refraction index, the exact amount, in percentages of the light that passes through, each scratch, and its probable cause, and what those smudges are. What they haven't done is looked through. And then they recommend look through. What you will find is a new language that is your own and must be translated in relation to you and your experience. Learn the language, and what a surprise you will find. Hidden in there is the answer to today's or yesterday's problems. Hidden in there is your future. Hidden in there is a new way of seeing yourself. Hidden in there is excitement, feeling, color, wonders you couldn't even imagine. Hidden in there is your teacher, your growth, your guidance, your self. For those who can read the dreams of others, the directive, and they always say this, don't tell me any of your dreams unless you're willing to let me in your deepest secrets, ones you might not even know yourself. And that's the directive that you have to give somebody. Do you understand what I'm saying? Somebody that can read your own personal dreams has to tell you, do not tell me your dream unless you're willing to let me come into the deepest part of you, including that part you don't even know yourself.